I mean, there's an awful lot to take on board because it's such a huge world that you haven't been exposed to when you become an applicant and you decide that you're applying for a training contract. The first piece of advice that I would give would be to be relatively specific in terms of your research, in terms of what aspects of the law actually interest you, because it's one thing saying, I want to be a solicitor. It's quite another to decide which area you're going to end up in. That said, one has to strike a balance between being relatively specific and not too specific. You have to sound convincing, but you can't corner yourself into, paint yourself into a corner. The other piece of very, very practical advice I would give would be just to make network contacts work for you. Even if you don't know anybody, you can still knock on doors, you can approach firms blind. I've been incredibly impressed with the sort of positive responses that I've got from, just from talking to people. And I think that if you show a little bit of interest in someone's work, ask them for a little bit of advice. Certainly in my case, everyone's bent over backwards to help me, just with the benefit of their experience. And I think that's probably the most important thing. It gives you lots to talk about in interviews. It just makes you a much more convincing applicant.
I think one of the big things is you have to get the confidence in yourself to know when you need to ask for help. One thing that does come across is that if a partner gives you some work, he'd much rather you spend kind of 10 minutes going over it with him to make sure you understand it, rather than going off at a complete tangent and coming back kind of an hour or 2 hours later with something that doesn't answer his question at all.
When we're recruiting, especially when we're recruiting trainee solicitors, what we're really looking for are bright, intelligent people from any background, people who can communicate well, communicate not only face-to-face, but also in writing, by emails, by letters, by drafting documents, because communication is key to our work. If we can't communicate properly with our clients, we can't communicate with other people we're dealing with, we're failing in our job. We may be wonderful lawyers, but if we can't communicate properly, we just won't get our message through. We're also obviously looking for people who have a real understanding of our clients' needs, be that clients who have commercial problems. We're looking for people who have an idea of what business is about, of a commercial awareness. We're also looking for people who can understand individuals when they're in a difficult situation, whether it's the stress of buying and selling a house, whether it's getting divorced, making a will, thinking about inheritance tax and so on. We're looking for people who can really understand our clients.
When we interview people, we're looking for somebody that's got something that's slightly different, the ability to communicate effectively, a level of maturity that would mean that if they're dealing with a client in a situation where they're very stressed or very emotional, that they can give practical advice and support, but still be objective, compassionate. And I suppose in terms of looking for that in a candidate, we would look at the CV and see what experience they've got just of life and of dealing with people and working within a team of people, because we very much operate in a team system, so we'll have a partner in charge with junior members of staff down to the level of a trainee. So we have to have somebody that's going to function within a team, not somebody that needs to be in their own environment, and an ability to feel compassion for the person that was obviously coming to us in an alien situation, in an environment where they're totally out of their depth. We have to be able to give them the reassurance that they require.
In terms of a good applicant and what makes a good application, there isn't one answer to give there in terms of a winning formula. What you've basically got to do is put in the building blocks across your application form to demonstrate your skills in different areas and your suitability for the profession. How do you do that? I think the best way to start when thinking about making applications to law is working out what you enjoy doing and where you think your skill set is most suited. Law is a very broad profession. There's lots of different types of law that you can specialise in and go into. So doing your research up front is a really good way of finding out what you want to do and then finding out about the organisations. So getting graduate brochures, websites, marketing material, talking to people in the profession, attending careers services and presentations run by law firms or by chambers, etc., is a really good way of building up your knowledge. Then when you've got that knowledge and information in front of you, you can make a better and more informed application to the sector and to the company, to the law firms that you're interested in.
I think the best advice that I can give with interviews is be prepared and also be yourself. being prepared, I mean actually preparing about the firm that you're going to, also preparing your journey, what you're wearing, etc. Going into an interview unprepared is like going into an exam unprepared, and I know that people try and say that they don't revise for things, but generally you realise that they do, and if you think about an interview in the same way, then that's going to help you prepare accordingly. So I would do a lot of research on the firm that you're going to, who their competitors are, what their position in the market is, what their recent deals that they've done have been, big clients, etc. Because I think that will help you understand yourself why you would especially want to work there.
What we offer trainees, if they are offered a training contract here and they accept, we pay a substantial contribution to their postgraduate fees. We also now pay them a maintenance grant each year. And that, I think, is important because a lot of students these days have a big student debt when they leave university, when they've done their first degree. The fees which trainee solicitors can incur can easily be up to £15,000 or £20,000. If they have to do 2 years, because they've done a non-law degree, they have to do 2 years of postgraduate work. The fees are getting towards £20,000 before they even start trying to live and pay their way as they go through those 2 years of work. So we do try and make a contribution. And I think a lot of the bigger meta firms in the country are doing exactly that these days.
There's a lot about just filling in the basics and making sure that you've got those right before actually worrying too much about then making it the best application form ever. And what I mean is a lot of people don't answer questions right on application forms, don't actually answer what they're being asked, and do make silly mistakes such as spelling mistakes and making typos in the form. And law is, as a profession, lawyers are quite pedantic about making sure people have good grammar and can make sure their application forms have good sentences and well-constructed sentences. So certainly I think getting those basics right will help people in the application process. Beyond that, it's about showing the examples that you have in terms of the work experience or the skills that you've developed throughout your career or throughout your school and university, that you can demonstrate areas such as motivation, commitment, determination, and bring it to life from your own experiences. And there's nothing to substitute for the things that you've actually done, and that will help you then at interview develop on that and expand on those examples.
The best advice I could give to people who want to go on to train as a solicitor would be, don't do too many applications just for the sake of feeling better about yourself, because it's easy to over-apply and not give too much of yourself in that application. It's better to make a fewer number of applications and concentrate on the firms that you really want to go to.
I don't want to sound like Simon Cowell, but we're looking for the X factor. We're looking for something that makes a candidate stand out. And you often will listen to a candidate and there's something there, there's something in their personality, or you click. And because I'm a member of a firm that's very friendly, very approachable team, you can see that person in your office talking to your clients. I think the way that you prepare for that and you develop those skills is by exposing yourself in life to as many different situations, being interested, reading the paper, watching the news, going to see different law firms, going to a court situation, try and get as much exposure as possible to different environments and different diverse settings. And it can be travel, it can be whatever interests you, but then I think you'll come across as a mature candidate who has life skills and the ability to deal with real life situations in a legal context.
So there you have it, a career in law. Be prepared for long hours, intense challenges, and the kinds of financial rewards to fund a lifestyle you can really indulge in.